Okay, so I've filmed this video a few times actually, and every time it's been sad or just miserable, and I'm not gonna make it miserable. This is something that I've had all of my life, and that's okay. It's all I've ever known, or not known in my case. People have asked me to make a video about this quite a few times, so I'm finally doing it. I don't have a sense of self. What do I mean by a sense of self? Basically, it means you don't know who you are. Sounds quite simple when you put it that way, but it's not like when you're a kid and you're discovering, new music and new styles, and you just, you're going through different phases. This lasts like for most of your life, or all of your life, or just it lasts for a very, very long time, and it's not defined by one period of your life. Let me put it quite simply. So you know how at school you have little cliques of people, okay? You got like a group of girls who know what they like to wear, they know what type of music they enjoy the most. They all have something about them that makes them who they are. Their personality is consistent and doesn't change. They are them no matter what. Someone with a lack of sense of self doesn't have that and just drifts between different people, different music tastes, different fashion senses, just drifts. The best way I can put it is people with no sense of self, such as myself, are like myself. We're basically chameleons. Whoever we are around at that time, we adapt to our surroundings. We adapt to the people that we are with. Because we don't have a distinct personality or specific style or tastes of our own, we adapt and fit into other people's styles and tastes. I was always asked, what was my favourite music growing up? I listened to Michael Jackson and Madonna, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, Blink-182, Sum 41, Yellow Card, pop punk, also Arcade Fire. I loved the White Stripes. I also loved Britney Spears, JoJo. I had UK Garage on CD, and I know that people can, like all different types of music, right? I'm not saying that at all, but what I listened to depended on who I hung out with. So if I hung out with a group of people who liked metal music, I would suddenly just start listening to metal. If I hung out with the group of girls that I was talking about who liked JoJo and Britney and Pussycat Dolls and stuff, I would suddenly like them, and I would dress like those girls, and I would, share the same personality. I'd laugh at the same jokes. I'd make the same jokes. I'd start saying whatever. You change into the people you're around because you're basically a blank canvas. This is something that, I thought I would just grow out of. I thought, everyone's different. Everyone discovers who they are at different times, right? I realized quite recently, very recently, last couple of months, that this is actually a thing. This is a thing that you can have or not have. And it lasts way longer than your teenage years, way past trying to impress a certain friend group. You just keep changing. So let me talk about my experience with it. So basically, I've told you about my music taste and all that changing. How many times have I changed my hair color on YouTube? I know that's not to do with fitting in with a certain group of people, but I've gone from having really bright hair to dark hair to short hair to long hair with extensions, because I don't know who I am. I change my hair to make up for the fact that I cannot figure out who I am as a person. I'm okay with it because, like I said, it's all I've ever known, but my style changes. Over the course of 5 years, I've gone from wearing gamer t-shirts to normal clothes, you know what I mean, right? Long pastel jumpers, band t-shirts, crop tops, different styles, and I can never settle on what I like the most. The amount of times I have to do a spring clean in my house, getting rid of things I'd only bought a couple of months ago because I don't need them anymore, I don't need them in my house, is insane. I'll go through phases of I'm gonna learn how to do art. I'm gonna take up self-defense karate classes or something. I'm gonna be a musician now, not YouTube. Let's just close the boxes of foxes. Yeah, that's a good fucking idea, isn't it? A lot of people say that I flip-flop between ideas, and it's damaged my channel, and just it's damaged my reputation, I guess. I've heard that before. And yeah, it's true. It's definitely true. I've flip-flopped a lot through the years. How many channels have I had now? I think this might be like my 6th or 7th. Let's have a look. I mean, I did this at the beginning of this channel as well. But what was it? I had Pink Fluffy Hat Time, Emma for the Win, Emma Fails at Gaming, Blackery TV, Emma Blackery, Birdie Boots, Boxes of Foxes, Lazy Little Me, Vloggery. That's 9 channels, I think, unless I counted wrong. Who needs that many channels? No one. And I've closed almost as many as I've opened, which is just ridiculous. But I cannot stop going through phases. I have phases because I'm constantly trying to work out who I am and what will stick. It's like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. That is my life. Like, genuinely, we're laughing, but that is true. And that is what it's like not having a sense of self. Let's get very, very recent. So I've loved wrestling since about 2011 when I had like a friend on Tumblr who recommended something to me, and it was to do with wrestling, and I loved it from then. So 2011 I discovered wrestling, and then a couple years later I kind of grew out of it a little bit. CM Punk left and I was kind of like, do I want to watch it anymore? I don't know, and I just sort of stopped watching it for a while. I then got close to a girl called Lily, who is now like my best friend ever, by the way. She's great, I love her, and we bond mostly over our shared love of wrestling, because like, even though I stopped watching WWE, like I still love wrestling as a whole. And ever since we became close friends back in like late September, early October, I talk about wrestling all the time. I make videos about wrestling. I stay up and watch wrestling. Just everything is wrestling. And it's because I have a friend who also loves wrestling. Again, I'm a chameleon and I adapt to my surroundings. If you look at Lily's Instagram, her feed is mostly bright white with like a little bit of contrast, and mine is taking the same kind of shape. This room is very white and very Lily-like. And I hope she knows that it's not like I'm not trying to copy her and just be her. That's definitely not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm saying is my personality and my interests change depending on who I'm close with. Like, honestly, look at how Lily Melrose this room is right now. Look at it. It's so Lily Melrose. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of like copying people to fit in, but it's all I've ever known, and I'm not ashamed of it either. I don't think anyone should sit here and say you should be ashamed of yourself for something that you can't help. Most people go through like a similar kind of mini version of this, when they're suddenly exposed to like hundreds of people in their school and they're introduced to new things. But they don't lose the old parts of themselves. They just get new things. But with me, I do lose the old things, like the old things that I used to like. Suddenly they're not relevant to me anymore and they'll just stop. Like channels, like interests, like things that I just throw out. I'm constantly reinventing myself. I'm constantly regenerating. And it makes things very difficult. It makes it hard to make friends because they don't know who the hell you are. It makes having a YouTube career hard because people can't keep up with the amount of channels that I open. And it's also emotionally quite stressful because once you realize that you have this, and I'm sorry if any of you have now figured that you can relate to it, it becomes kind of upsetting. Like at first it does. Like I was upset about it for a long time because I thought, why me? Why do I have to have this, or like not have a sense of self at all? There are loads of things in my head that I sit there and think, why did I have to get this? Why does anyone have to get it? But why me? Why can't I be like everyone else who has their whole life planned out? They know exactly what university they want to go to. They know what they want to study. They know what they want to be for the rest of their life. I never had that. I never had a dream other than like, oh, I want to be a famous singer, like a pipe dream. I never had a realistic goal. I never had a defined music taste. I never had like a core personality of my own. Yes, you could say that maybe my personality is that I'm strong and I make people laugh sometimes. You could say that is my personality, but you have seen me change, you have seen me grow, you've seen me adapt, but it's not just a case of getting older and growing as a person, it's a case of cutting things out completely, getting new things out the blue, changing depending on who you're around. It can be difficult to deal with, but that is all I have. It's all I've ever known, and I'm not ashamed of it. So I hope, honestly, I hope that you can't relate to this video. I hope that you look at this and go, that's not me. Because if this is you, it sucks. And I know how you're feeling. Like, you just don't fit in. But it goes on beyond not fitting in with people at school. It goes on into your adult life. And it can be difficult, you know. I will say now, and I still don't feel ready to touch on this completely. But if you do feel like this is you, I will say that a lack of sense of self is a symptom, a very common, probably the most telling symptom of a personality disorder. So I look up sense of self, and it will link you to something that, like, it might be part of a bigger problem for you. It might not. It might just be a case of you're perfectly fine, like, in your brain, but you just don't have a sense of self. But a lot of the time, if you identify with what I'm saying, it can be a symptom of something else. So it's worth being honest with yourself and not just trying to give yourself a label, not self-diagnosing like, oh, Emma has this, I have this too. I know that a lot of you will not do that, but it's important to think to yourself, she's saying this, do I really have it, or do I just not know who I am? And if you really do think that maybe you have a lack of sense of self, then perhaps look into what else it could be. I really don't feel comfortable talking about it just yet. I'm sure I will this year at some point, but I'm still coming to terms with a lot of things. But I hope that I hope you didn't enjoy this video. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that you didn't relate to it and it was just a load of rubbish to you, because the alternative is that it made you feel better about yourself, and that means that you feel the same way. But anyway, I'm happy, I'm smiling. I don't know who I'm going to be next week. Who fucking cares? I will see you when I'm a different person. I don't know. Bye.